They are going to support, and they are not going to block the law that now requires by Sunday that TikTok's Chinese government, communist government controlled parent company sell TikTok to a non-foreign adversary of the United States. Can't sell it to Iran, can't sell it to Russia, got to sell it to somebody who's independent and isn't going to try to control it for its own purposes to undermine national security.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. That clip from Michael Popak from the Midas Touch Network, Legal AF, was, that's the opening of all sorts of a can of worms here that we need to talk about. Roughly a week ago, I called out Supreme Court Justice Roberts and made mention of Justice Alito and Justice Thomas in a way that kind of called them out. And while I doubt that there's anything they heard from me, I know I'm not the only person yelling it. I know mainstream media has started to pick up on it, and I know that the Senate is starting to say a few things to the court. They're exposing their displeasure, shall we say. So the ruling today on TikTok was a 9-0 unanimous decision. There's a legal Latin term for that, and I forget what it is, but nobody disagreed, and nobody really wrote the notice. They just said, hey, we all agree, that's it, done, gone. Now, we've got till the 19th. That's just 2 days away. I don't know how you're going to sell something that big, that quick, but the concern here for me in the States is both Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank and Elon Moneyboy. But either way, that's going to go there. But the main focus of what I want to talk about today is what appears to be a subtle, if anything else describes it, a subtle change in the Supreme Court's attitude towards we the people and our rights. The 9-0 unanimous decision today to sell TikTok was a nice finishing touch for the week. The Supreme Court, in its records here for the last couple of weeks, has also declined some pretty monumental cases. One against Donald, and they refused to block his sentencing in New York State in a 5-4 decision that notably brings up, and I do want you people to remember this name, notably brings up Amy Coney Barrett as being the centrist in the justice system. It appears that she does have some sway, and she does have the ability to convince other right-leaning judges to be more centrist or more left-leaning. That was a big decision. Donald, for what it's worth, goes into office as the only convicted felon to ever hold the office. SCOTUS also declined to hear a major case out in Hawaii where oil companies, and I've got the list here, I want to make sure I read it right here, Sunoco, Shell, Chevron, Exxon, Mobil, and BP listed in the lawsuit trying to get the Supreme Court of the United States to not allow the state of Hawaii to sue them based on the grounds that there were already federal rules, the Chevron doctrine, which was just recently overturned, that if there was already a consumer or there was already a ruling by the federal courts on lawsuits, then the states couldn't just sue them basically under the double jeopardy decision. But Hawaii stated that their concern was the fraud committed by these companies who stated that their product was safe to use and environmentally sound. And SCOTUS said, yeah, they got a point. They've got a point in that what the petroleum products did out there and some of the products that they were using out there did pollute and did cause a problem for their consumers. And there were some lies about the safety and use of it. Now, I don't know the details in all of it. I don't know whether it was gasoline, whether it was oil or what, but the Supreme Court knows the details, and they upheld Hawaii's appeals court and said, sorry guys, you can't come here, you can't bring it over the line. That in itself leaves open, very much like what happened to the tobacco industries many decades ago in the lawsuits. It leaves the petroleum industry open to those same lawsuits. Consumer fraud. That's what brought down the tobacco market. That's probably what's never going to bring down the oil industry, but it will put a dent in their record profits. And since the recorded time of record-keeping profits, Exxon has broken that record continuously year after year after year. I'm sure many of you remember the Senate hearings when the different CEOs from several different companies were brought in and they all named what their salaries were. But the gentleman from Exxon declined to remember. So Congress reminded him of his like $100 million a year contract. And the notable surprise about that, if you can ever catch the clip, I recommend it. The gentleman at the far end of the testimony table leaned forward and looked down at the Exxon CEO and said, "You make that much?" But anyways, I digress. So there's three major losses. And then there was the loss for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here. He was trying to stop the state of Washington from disciplinary actions against multiple doctors up there who spread disinformation about the COVID-19's vaccines for children. And some of those children died from COVID. RFK has his own law firm. He's a lawyer. That's all he is. He's a lawyer. And he's up for his Senate hearings. I doubt he's going to make it or not. I doubt it. Health and Human Services. He wants to be the director. He's not a doctor. He's not a scientist, but that's what he's been recommended to. But SCOTUS declined to hear RFK's request to stop the disciplinary actions of several doctors, like I said, in the state of Washington. Justice Kagan said absolutely not and sent it back and refused to hear it. So I guess the summation and the conclusion today is that, I've been railing on the Supreme Court. I don't have a lot of faith in them. I don't see where a group of people who control that much power in the United States don't have an ethics agreement and don't have an oversight committee to ensure that they live to the ethics. But suddenly, within these last four rulings, they have done an about-face, and I'm wondering if it isn't a group effort. If it is, I applaud it too late. But if there's a group effort, and if Amy Coney Barrett has anything to do with it, I applaud her. She's not released from her past transgressions, but she's trying harder, it seems. But the court is still uncontrolled, unsupervised, with no ethics. I'm sorry, you and I have to go. When I was working, I had a code of ethics I had to live by. If you're in law enforcement, if you're in anything, I'm reminded daily from a very close friend that the military had a code of ethics. And the penalty for violation of those was possibly loss of rank, possibly loss of anything else, and possible loss of your time in the military, and you would be released with less than a proper DD-214. I guess I'm just trying to say that it appears that SCOTUS is trying a little bit harder. I do intend to make a career out of these people. I told you that when I went up against Justice Roberts, and while, like I say, there seems to be a little bit of improvement, I'm not satisfied yet. With that, I'm going to end this rant. I want to get on with my weekend. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Again, if you like what I'm doing, please hit the button and subscribe and like my channel. Tell others about it. It's helping me grow. I thank you to all my subscribers that are out there already and the kind words that I've gotten from you. I do appreciate it. I do try and answer you all the time. Anyways, with that, everybody have an amazing weekend, and I'll say goodbye. Thank you.